Hello, everyone. So I just completed a 3-day weekend of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Albuquerque I had a good time. It's a little complicated of a city with its unique feel, but at the same time, its simplicity as well. It's the only major city I've seen so far that has this little complication where on one hand you see one part of the city and it's like, oh, this is a very simple, casual place, and in another part it's a little complicated. It's a weird feel. It's one of those things where you get one thing or the other. You can never get it in the middle, for the lack of a better term. I had a good time. So let's put it this way. Basically, you have the three major parts of Albuquerque: Old Town, Downtown, and Nob Hill. Those are the three main areas. And outside of that, you get your section of what is desert-styled suburbs, where the houses, the way they're constructed here in Albuquerque, you can tell that, hey, we are in the desert of the United States, even though this is a major city with a lot of civilization. So I guess the best way to give a full, simple, but yet detailed review of Albuquerque is just to give you the simple highs and the lows like I do in any video. The only thing is, I think it's better if I start with the negatives of it before I get to the positives. All my other videos, I start with the positives, then I gave the negatives. So I'll start with the negatives. First things first, even though this is a major city, it's really big on their hospitals, their school, University of New Mexico. I heard that they're really big on their lawyer systems here. I also heard Facebook corporate is here in Albuquerque. They're also very big on casinos and all. But at the same time, sometimes, depending on where you are, if you're not downtown, okay? If you're not in downtown, the two other areas, Old Town and Nob Hill, you could feel a little lonely. There's really not much to do here, and you get a little shook by it because, like, for example, when you go to Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is where I went to, you knew you were going to walk into a laid-back area that doesn't really have a whole lot of people, and you can just chill here. Albuquerque gives you that vibe where it's like, hey, there's a lot going on, and as you go on, you get a little disappointed when you realize there's really not as much as it appears to be. Because it does have that city feel, but but with a small town community. So it takes some time to get used to. So if you're I only was here for 3 days, it took me to the third day to finally get used to that feel. And my suggestion is, go in there, despite the casinos and the college and all this other stuff. Go in with low expectations, so that way you can relax, get a deep breath, and understand that you're not going to be popping like LA, even though they have the things to make you feel like, hey, you are going to party like LA. But those spots are limited. Another thing is that you need a car to get anywhere. So whether you're living in those suburban desert-styled homes in the suburb areas, or if you have an apartment or a hotel, which they have plenty of here in Albuquerque, you still need a car to go somewhere. Sometimes you could get a motel in Nob Hill or anywhere in Central Ave that is right there, but you don't really want to live in a motel anywhere. That's not really what they're for. But if that is what you're doing, I mean, Godspeed and all, but yeah, you need a car to get anywhere because it's the way it's constructed. It's too big to just go out for a walk and get somewhere. But good thing is, if you do have a car, you can see the whole thing within 15 minutes. So those are the down spots of Albuquerque. Now, there are some good things about Albuquerque. Let's just go with the three major sections that Albuquerque is most known for. Old Town, Downtown, Nob Hill. Let's start with Old Town. This is the simplest one. It was the first civilization of Albuquerque. And the only down thing is they're not really open at night too much. It's a very simple area. They do have some restaurants that are open, but once night comes in, no one's really there too often. But if you ever do get a chance to go there during the day, they have some nice thrift shops and some good historic things you can look like to get you the feel of like how Albuquerque was first built and then just expanded from there. So that's Old Town. Nob Hill, Nob, N-O-B. So think of doorknob, but take away the K. So Nob Hill has some. It's like a walkway of things to do. So once you pass the University of New Mexico and you get to Nob Hill, that one street, it's almost like the toned down version of Atlantic City. If you've ever been to Atlantic City, New Jersey, there's the hotels, but then after those hotels, when you go out, you see that there's really nothing there to do. It's really all about the boardwalk and the casinos and the hotels, that one area. Nob Hill's the same way. Once you widen out for about 2 blocks each direction, so like here's the Nob Hill, the street, Central Ave. So if you go 2 blocks this way or 2 blocks that way, after that there's really nothing. Even within those 2 blocks, sometimes there really is nothing there. But in that one section of Central Ave on Nob Hill, there's plenty of shops to go to. Whether it's places that you only get in Albuquerque or places you can get anywhere. There's really more so places you can only see in Albuquerque. Like for example, there's the Chinese place Panda Express. You can go to any state and get Chinese food from Panda Express. But other than that, I didn't really see too much. It's mostly privatized, like Albuquerque, New Mexico places. Places where you can hang out, places you can shop. It's a really good walk to go to. There's night places you can go to. There's a lot of bars there. So check out Nob Hill. That was fun. Now we get to downtown Albuquerque, where there was a really good movie theater there. There's also another movie theater near the casinos. I didn't get a chance to go there. But I went to the Albuquerque downtown, movie theater. That was a lot of fun. A lot of bars there. A lot of different places you can go to, specifically on Central Ave. Central Ave really is the major spot to walk and see things. So that was unique. Another thing I saw that was unique, and outside the private shows, I mean the live shows, like live bands and all, in terms of how the people here are in Albuquerque, they're really cool, really friendly, and forgive me if I'm putting M-rated material on this review, but considering my journey is about learning people, learning cultures, forgive me for being a guy that's saying this, but I gotta say it. For example, if you live in the Northeast, if you go to Hooters, you know what makes Hooters Hooters, and it's not the wings they serve, it's the girls that serve them, how they dress. As far as a non-strip club like restaurant, that is the most showing they'll ever show of a girl that serves there. I went to the Library Bar and Lounge, which I made a video on, and the way the girls were allowed to dress, you would think you would have to be 21 and over to get in, and I'm just gonna leave it like that. And another thing shocking is that maybe it's just the community here in Albuquerque, but I did go to the strip club Knockouts, and I gotta say, normally when, like in New York, when girls bring their guy friends, husbands, whatever, if that is what they're into, to a strip club where girls are dancing, they do it to, you know, give their man a good time. If that ever happens. It rarely does, but sometimes it does. Here in Albuquerque, it's almost as if the husbands bring their wives to the strip club, so that way when the girls dancers dance with the wives can have a good time. I've never seen it like that, and I was like, whoa. So it's definitely different here in Albuquerque. I'm not saying every female in Albuquerque is a bisexual, you know, wild freak, but it was something where, you know, I don't know how else to say it. It was interesting to say the least. But beyond the wildness of what I've seen, you know, it's something that I've been saying about people in general, that everything is a skill set, and cultures where you grow up affect that skill set. And because this is a major but yet small city, more manageable population, you know, like in New York, because of how it is there, many females are told to protect themselves, rightfully so, against guys who are just scumbags. Like, it gets to the point where, like, one time one girl thought I was stalking her just because it was the third time I said hello to her in like 2 months, because we walked down the same aisle of the job we were at, and other than those hellos, I never really bothered her too much. And it's because females from that major city, northeastern area, from what it seems, they're told to protect themselves, and they're, you know, I don't know what's it like in a girl's shoes, but not all guys are pieces of crap who treat women like walking fleshlights. I mean, I'm not like that, and many of my other guy friends aren't like that, but unfortunately there are. And, you know, it's to the point where when I talk about my stories in terms of what I do in my private time in that kind of way, many people laugh, and others, specifically the girls, they get a little uncomfortable. Some girls have a good sense of humor, some don't. It's like, oh, I can't believe he's saying that. But here in this more controlled population, you know, the small city structure, not that you need to use sex as a way to build confidence, but it goes to show, like, hey, listen, if you only, yes, focus in, be ready for the bad parts, but don't think that the bad parts are always going to happen. You know, it seems like, you know, from what I've seen in that bar, in that strip club, it's like females are more confident to talk to me, you know, especially when I have a shirt. I don't know if you can see it. It says this, I don't know if you can read it. You know, mild sense of humor, a stripper with a whip doesn't make her a dominatrix. You know, many, you know, females here had a good sense of humor, and they weren't scared of me, of wearing a shirt like this and all. You know, they were more than happy to start a conversation with me, laugh, and just have a good time as people. And it's because they weren't raised to be brainwashed into thinking that any single time, because you're a girl, you can be raped, be super. They weren't scared like that. They were given encouragement and enthusiasm to something that's supposed to feel good. And as long as you have the discipline to know what the bad things are and be, you know, fully taught how to handle the bad things if they do show up, but don't always think it's going to happen all the time. Don't scare your kids into thinking like that for anything. That builds confidence, and I do see a big difference in confidence, you know, when I leave that New York, New Jersey area and I venture out to other parts of the city. So that's something that I've been seeing more and more as I go on and I see these other parts of the countries where people have the time to work on those skill sets so they don't have to be so uncomfortable. So that's the best way to describe it. So Albuquerque was fun. It does take some time to get used to, but if once you get used to the small population element and you learn to enjoy what's there, it's definitely worth the visit.